Hi guys, welcome to our first online workshop for the RealWorks internship program. So in this workshop, we're going to be covering some of the logistics. We're going to be talking about professionalism, what that looks like in email, on the phone, and we're going to be setting goals for ourselves, going forward in the internship program. So the first thing is logistical. We need to make sure that we are adhering to the forum guidelines that were set in the email that I sent you last week. So those guidelines are you're going to check the forum every week. On Mondays by 5 o'clock, I will upload the workshop video for that week. There are 4 workshops through the course of the internship program, in addition to the panel and the mandatory career exploration field trip. So the first workshop is this orientation workshop here, where we'll talk about workplace etiquette and professionalism, as I've already mentioned. The second workshop is going to be on freelancing. So a lot of you as filmmakers may have to engage in freelancing at some point in your life. So we're going to talk about what that looks like, what that means, and what that means for you financially. The third workshop will be on conflict resolution, and the last workshop will be on networking and your elevator pitch, which ties into networking. So today we are starting, like I've mentioned, with professionalism and workplace etiquette. So you're all going to start your internships in the next couple weeks, and we really want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. You are showing that you are professional. You are showing that you are ready to be a valued member of your internship site. So that means getting to work on time. On time does not mean if you're supposed to be there at 9, you get there at 9. On time means you are early. You are getting there at 8:50. You are getting there at 8:45. Especially when you start this internship, you want to show your supervisor that you are committed, that you are reliable, and that you will never be late. So that means you need to build in a buffer for your commute. Whenever you're getting to work, you need to think, okay, it takes me 30 minutes to get there. I'm going to give myself an extra 20, 30 minutes in case something goes wrong. We all live in New York City. We know that the subways can be really inconsistent and make us late. So we want to make sure we're building in that buffer time to make sure we get there on time. Again, on time means early. You are dressing professionally. Some of you might have different dress codes depending on where you end up working, but you want to make sure you're discussing that with your supervisor before you go to work, so you know whether or not you're supposed to be wearing a suit or whether or not you can wear jeans to work. So that's something you need to know. If you are working in a business casual or a business environment, you need to make sure you are looking clean. You are focusing on your hygiene, wearing deodorant, washing your face, brushing your teeth. You are presenting yourself in a professional way. Then we're going to go into workplace etiquette. So there are some practices that have gotten a little out of touch in these recent generations, my own included. So we really need to make sure we're practicing and really paying attention to what is acceptable and what is not when that comes to email and the phone. So when you're talking on the phone in a workplace environment, you need to make sure you're being polite and following a certain standard protocol. So in the workshop handout folder on the forum, you can see a little tip sheet on how to answer the phone correctly. I'm going to quickly demonstrate how we should be answering the phone as I would at Futures and Options here. We get phone calls all day, every day, and each of our employees is expected to answer the phone on a rotating basis. This may be one of your responsibilities at your internship, which to answer the phone in your workplace. So you need to make sure you're being polite and really listening to what the person is saying so you can connect them to who they need to be speaking to. So I have my cell phone here. If the phone rings, I'm going to answer, and I'm going to be the first one to talk. Hello, this is Futures and Options. This is Corey. How can I help you? Those are going to be the first things you're going to want to say when you answer any phone call in a workplace environment. You're going to want to say hello, who they're calling, where they are, and who they're speaking to. Ask them how you can help them. So we want to make sure that I said Futures and Options, so whoever's calling, they know that they've reached the right place. Or if they're not trying to call Futures and Options, they know that they need to try another number. I let them know that this is Corey, especially considering at our office we have lots of different people answering the phones. We need to make sure that whoever's answering, they know who they're speaking to, so I can connect them to the appropriate party. And then asking them how I can help them, so we can really get that conversation started, know who they're trying to reach, what they're trying to call in regards to, and get that conversation going. So again, hello, this is Futures and Options. This is Corey. How can I help you? You're going to want to edit that and practice that before you go into your internship site. So really practice having your friends call you, or you can practice the roommate or your mom or your dad pretending that you are in your workplace environment, getting confident with whether or not confident about how you answer the phone in a workplace. If the person they're calling is not there, you're going to ask to take a message. So that when you take a message in a workplace environment, you always want to make sure that you get the person's name, their number, and what they're calling about. Making sure you're recording the time on that message as well, so the person whose the message is being left for knows when the person called and when they should be calling them back. Someone may answer the phone and say, "Oh, it's Rebecca. She'll know how to call me." You always want to make sure that you still get that information anyway, because for all you know is your coworker knows 9 Rebeccas, and this other person just thinks that they are the only Rebecca in their life. So you want to make sure that you know the first and last name and where they can be reached at. So you want to get that phone number every single time, because you don't know if your coworker knows 9 different Rebeccas as opposed to just the one that is calling who thinks that they're the only Rebecca in the world. So you want to make sure when you're taking that message, you are asking for their name, their number, what they're calling for, so you could really leave a detailed message for your coworker. All of these tips are outlined on the workshop handout, as I mentioned. Now going into broader workplace etiquette, these are things that we really need to be focusing on in our internship sites, in the job world, and even in your classrooms. So you want to be common courtesy, saying please, thank you, you're welcome, just setting up a practice of being friendly and polite. You may become very good friends with some of your coworkers throughout this internship, but you still want to make sure that, especially with your superiors, that you are maintaining that polite, friendly attitude at all times. You're being helpful, you're being courteous, you're always asking if someone needs help. One of the questions we talked about in our interview was, what would you do if you finish your work early? You should always be asking people if you can help them. You're being polite. You're saying, is there anything I can do for you? I have some free time. Or do you need help with that? You really want to make sure that you are being friendly and open with your coworkers. As well, you want to make sure you're controlling your emotions. If you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling sad, go get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, take a few deep breaths. You don't want to have an incident at work. You're trying to make sure you are calm, courteous, and friendly at all times. Things we do not want to do in the workplace. Don't want to complain. You don't want to be the person with the negative attitude that's standing around talking about how much you don't like it there, how much you don't like this coworker, that coworker, how you don't like that assignment. Those are things that you need to keep to yourself. If you need to vent about them, you're going to wait until you get home and you can talk to a friend or family member. Those are not things you should be talking with your coworkers about, especially in the workplace. You want to make sure you are not gossiping. A lot of times people will talk about water cooler talk. You're not going to be the person who's standing next to the water cooler or next to someone's desk and you're talking about other people in the office. Gossip is unacceptable, as we know, in all scenarios, but especially in the workplace. You want to show your supervisor and your other coworkers that you're responsible and respectful, and gossip is the fastest way to show someone that you are not responsible or respectful. You don't want to interrupt others. You want to listen. You are in here in these internships as a learning tool. So you need to make sure you're listening to everything people are saying instead of interrupting. Interrupting, obviously, is also just a basic impolite thing to do, so we need to make sure we're practicing not interrupting and letting people finish their thoughts during your internship. Don't take long lunch breaks. So you might be inclined to say, oh, I've been here for 4 or 5 hours. I'm tired. I want to go get lunch with my friend at Chipotle. That's fine as long as it's been communicated with your supervisor that that is an acceptable course of action. Here at here at Futures and Options, we don't take long lunch breaks. We'll go grab our lunch and usually eat at our desks. You should never be taking a lunch break that's longer than 30 minutes unless you've cleared it with your supervisor beforehand. So you need to make sure you are present at work while you're there. You're not going to go off for an hour. Again, lunch breaks should never be longer than 30 minutes unless you've cleared them with your supervisor before. And the last thing you really want to make sure you're not doing is blaming somebody else for your mistakes. As a responsible member of the workplace, you want to own your mistakes, so you make sure that you don't make the same mistake the next time. You never want to play the blame game, blaming on a coworker, blaming on your supervisor. Oh, directions weren't clear. That is your opportunity to ask for more clear directions. Or if someone didn't supply you with the right information, it is your responsibility to reach out and get that information. So you should never be placing the blame if you make a mistake. You have the opportunity to own that mistake and learn from that mistake at all times. So you should always be owning, not blaming if you make a mistake. This is your opportunity to learn, and you're not going to learn if you're placing the blame on other people. So the last thing is our email etiquette. So you need to make sure you're sending professional emails, and I'd really like you all to practice this when you're emailing me, and especially You need to employ it when you're emailing your supervisors once you're at your internship. I've attached another video about email etiquette to the workshop folder for this orientation. So you need to make sure you're watching that email etiquette video about how you make sure you're sending a professional email in the workplace. So last but not least for today is we're going to be setting our goals. So what we're doing is we're setting our SMART goals. SMART is an acronym. So SMART, specific. So what is it exactly that you want to accomplish? Make sure your goal is specific. Measurable. How will I know when I've achieved my goal? Measurable. Attainable. Can I realistically accomplish this goal? Relevant. Is my goal worthwhile at this point in time? And time-bound. When do I hope to achieve this goal? So this is a SMART goal. It's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. You need to make sure your goals are all of those things. In the workshop folder, in the workshop handout folder, you have a form that you need to be filling out. This is for you personally to fill out in regards to your own internship to help you guide your experience there. You do not need to submit this to me or your supervisor. This is for your own personal development. So you're going to be designing a SMART goal. What do you want to achieve? What is that goal? What challenges might arise while you're trying to achieve this goal? Who can help you achieve this goal? That could be me or Jess or your supervisors. How do you know you're successful in achieving this goal, and when will you check to see if you're successful? So in the workshop handouts folder, you should check out this plan of action, filling it out on your own time for your internship so you can have a SMART goal that you are working to achieve during your internship. So you're creating a SMART goal on your plan of action for your internship program. Those are what we needed to cover today in the first orientation. So going forward, you need to make sure that you have responded to this video by Sunday by 9 o'clock. We are posting 2 takeaways. So that is 2 things you're going to apply to your internship that you learned in this workshop. That's from watching this video and watching the email etiquettes video and reading through the handouts. Those are tips on phone, email, and workplace etiquette. So 2 takeaways what you're going to apply to your internship by Sunday at 9 p.m. Additionally, you need to respond to one of your peers' responses. So if someone says, I'm going to make sure that I always answer the phone professionally, ask them a question. How can they make sure that they're doing that? What's an example of how we take a message? Making sure we're all responding to each other, having a healthy dialogue. One more thing this week, in addition to your 2 responses and your response to a peer, please post one thing you are excited for this internship program. Because there's a lot to be excited for, and you're all going to be plugged into pretty exciting internships as we go forward. So this week only, you will have 4 things you need to post in response to this video. You need to respond to 2 of your own takeaways, 1 response to a peer, and list 1 thing you are excited for. So those are the 4 things you need to post by Sunday at 9 o'clock. I'm really excited to be working with all of you. As always, please don't hesitate to call or email me if you have any questions or just want to chat at any time. So make sure you can reach out. I'm excited to be in touch with all of you and looking forward to reading your responses on Sunday. Thank you.